Next topic is children, factors affecting price elasticity of demand. Before this, we had certain numericals given in the book. I'll be giving you assignments and you can ask your problems on the specific group of the subject. The first factor which affects the price elasticity of demand is availability of substitutes. We already know substitutes goods are those goods which can be used in place of one another. What happens over here? If the number and kind of substitutes available for a commodity are more, that is, if the number and kind of substitutes available for a commodity, they are, that is, more the substitutes and closer the substitutes, the demand is likely to be elastic. Even a small fall in price will induce more people to buy this commodity rather than its substitutes, right? For instance, coffee and tea may be considered as close substitutes for one another. When the price of coffee falls, given the price of tea, many consumers will buy more of coffee and less of tea since coffee has become relatively cheaper. If price of Pepsi falls, large number of consumers will switch over from Coke to Pepsi, leading to a large increase in demand for Pepsi. So in this case, the demand will be elastic because these goods are close substitutes and number of substitutes are also very large. So the demand will be elastic. You understand that? That means the people very quickly they will switch over to the other commodity when the price will change. Similarly, the demand for Domino's pizza is quite elastic because there are many close substitutes including other brands of pizza and other types of fast food items. On the other hand, this is one side. On the other hand, if a good has no or weak substitutes, the demand for it would be inelastic. So how can we conclude this point? We can say that in general, a commodity with more and close substitutes tends to have an elastic demand. On the other hand, a commodity which has few and distant substitutes or weak substitutes will have an inelastic demand, right? Then we come to point 2, that is nature of the commodity. Here we divide the commodities into 3 categories. One is necessity commodities, the second is luxury commodities, or a commodity of comfort. The demand for necessities such as food items is generally inelastic. Why it is inelastic? Because the people will purchase such commodities whether their prices will fall or rise, right? Because they are the commodities of necessity. These essential to life commodities will be purchased in more or less quantities whether the price is high or low. So their demand will be inelastic. On the other hand, the commodities of luxuries and comforts are not essential for existence and their consumption can be dispensed with or postponed, right? In such a case, the demand for these commodities will be elastic. For example, we can say fall in the prices of air conditioners or color TV sets and costly furniture may bring about a large increase in the quantities demanded of these goods. So we can say the demand for necessities is inelastic in conclusion and the demand for luxuries and comfort is elastic. And third point is proportion of the income spent. What part of your income you are spending on the commodity? The smaller the proportion of income spent on a commodity, the larger will be the elasticity of demand and vice versa. The demand for soap, salt, matchbox, toothpaste, newspapers, etc. is highly inelastic. Why it is so? Because the consumers spend a very small part of their income on the purchase of such commodity, and when the price of such commodities rise, it will not make much difference to consumers, to their budget, right? And so they will continue to consume such commodities. On the other hand, the demand for clothes, furniture, etc. is likely to be elastic since the consumer spends a large fraction of his or her income on these goods. A change in their price will have considerable effect on the budget of the consumer and therefore will affect their demand to a great extent. So what we can say, that lower the proportion of income is spent, the demand will be inelastic. Greater the proportion of income is spent, the demand will be elastic. Then next is the number of uses of a commodity. That is, if it's a commodity of multiple uses. We have already talked about it. Milk is a commodity of multiple uses. Electricity is a commodity of multiple uses. And steel is a commodity of multiple uses. So all these commodities, they are of multiple uses. If their price will change, definitely their demand will change to a great extent, because people will start switching, will start using them for more important use if their price will rise. So their demand is highly elastic. If their price will rise, the consumption will be cut short by every consumer, and if their price will fall, the consumer will start using them for each and every use. Then next is time factor. Time factor, here we refer to short period or long period. Generally, we do not refer to any calendar period in economics when we talk about time period, right? We refer to the industries, types of industries over here when we are talking about time period. Now what this book says, that price elasticity is generally low for the short period as compared to the long period. This is for two reasons. One, it takes time for consumers to adjust their taste, preference and habits in the short run, and in the long period consumers may adjust their preferences and consumption pattern. And secondly, new substitutes may be developed in the long run. For long run, there are two reasons, right? Therefore, if the price of a commodity rises, the demand for it will be inelastic in the short run, as the substitutes may not be available, but in the long run demand will be elastic, as the consumers may switch over to new substitutes which may be available in the long run, or they may develop some other taste also, right? So this is all for this. Then next is possibility of postponement of consumption. Whether the commodity, whether the consumption can be shifted to future or not. In this case, if the possibility of postponement of commodity, the consumption is there, the demand will be elastic. That is, if the consumption can be postponed, the demand will be elastic. The consumption of clothing, furniture, air conditioners, etc. can be postponed, and therefore a rise in the price may lead to a large fall in the demand. Right, then next is price range. Demand for a commodity tends to be inelastic at very high and very low prices, and elastic within the moderate range of prices. Very high, the rich consumers will purchase, they will definitely purchase, whether the price will be high, they will be purchasing. Very low, they are necessity commodities, consumer will definitely purchase. At the moderate range, the group of consumers, they are of middle class, so they'll have their consumption will be affected and they will postpone their consumption, they will shift their consumption, so overall demand will change. So the demand will be elastic in the moderate range, it will be inelastic in the very high and very low range, right? Then habits of the consumer. If a consumer is habitual of consuming any commodity, suppose it's a smoker, then he will be consuming the commodity, so the demand will be inelastic. But if the consumer is not in habit of consuming a commodity, the demand will be inelastic, right? Then elastic. Income of the consumer. If normally rich consumers have an elastic demand, it is so because rise or fall in the price will not much affect their pocket. On the other hand, the demand of middle income and poor income people is generally elastic, as a change in price of a commodity will much affect their budget. This is all for the determinants. So the second category of types of elasticity is income elasticity, children. The income elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a commodity to a change in income of the consumer. The formula is given in your slide. You can see that is EY is equal to delta Q upon delta Y into Y upon Q. right? The explanation is given. Now we come to the types of income elasticity of demand. There are 3 degrees here over here. One is positive income elasticity. Income elasticity of demand is said to be positive when with an increase in income of the consumer, the amount purchase of a commodity increases, and with a decrease in the income of the consumer, the amount purchase of the commodity decreases. For instance, for most of the commodities, income elasticity of demand is positive because an increase in income leads to an increase in quantity demanded, right? Goods with positive income elasticity are called normal goods. We have studied this in the law of demand chapter. For normal commodities, we can classify income elasticity into 3 categories. One is income inelastic, the second is income elastic, and then third is unitary income elastic. First is income elastic. If the percentage change in the quantity demanded of a good means when the change in demand is greater than change in income, this is known as income elastic. Such type of elasticity is found in luxuries like cars, color TV and jewelry, etc. Right? And then the next is income inelastic, and here what happens when the percentage change in demand is less than change in income. Such things are necessities like food, soap and clothes have low income elasticity of demand. Then unitary income elasticity, the percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to percentage change in income. It is going to be equal to unity. In this case, the commodity has a unitary income elasticity. Income elasticity of unitary represents a dividing line between income elastic and income inelastic demand. This is the subclassification of first degree. Then second degree is negative income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand is said to be negative when an increase in the income of the consumer leads to a fall in the amount purchased of a commodity and vice versa. All this we have seen in demand chapter where we were classifying the types of good, normal good, inferior good and inexpensive necessities of life. Now negative is for inferior goods because when the income of the consumer increases, he will stop consuming the inferior commodities, so their demand will fall because he will be switching over to superior commodities, right? Then third is zero income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand may be zero in some exceptional cases. Zero income elasticity of demand for a good implies that a change in income leaves quantity demanded unchanged. When the demand does not respond to change in income, then it is said to be zero income elastic. For instance, income elasticity of demand for salt may be zero. That is, this is an inexpensive necessity of life. The elasticity will be zero over here because an increase in income beyond a certain level may not bring about any change in the demand for salt. These many degrees are of income elasticity of demand. Then the next is cross elasticity of demand. Now the cross elasticity of demand is talking about relative goods, right? The goods which are related to each other, and here in this category we talk about 2 types of goods, substitute goods and complementary goods. Again, the types of elasticity, the definition for this is that cross elasticity of demand is defined as the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity with respect to the change in the price of its related commodity. I hope you get that. The percentage change in price of the commodity leads to percentage change in the quantity demanded of its related commodity, right? Again, we have types of cross elasticity. One is positive cross elasticity. Cross elasticity of demand is said to be positive when increase in the price of one commodity. We are talking about the relative commodities, right? When increase in the price of one commodity, it may be Y, we can use variable Y, leads to an increase in the demand for the other commodity. Now these are substitute goods. Mind you, substitute goods are relative goods. When the price of one rises, the demand of the other rises. There is a positive relationship between price and demand of substitute goods. In this case, when the price of one will rise, say tea, the demand for coffee will rise. So degree will be positive cross elasticity over here, right? Then next is negative cross elasticity. Cross elasticity of demand is said to be negative when a fall in the price of Y leads to an increase in the demand for car. Now these are complementary goods. Suppose car and petrol. if the price of car will fall, the demand for petrol will rise. Not only the demand for car will rise, but the demand for petrol will also rise. In this case, the elasticity will be negative over here. And then third is zero cross elasticity demand. When the goods are not at all related to each other, then the degree of cross elasticity will be equal to 0, such as a shoe and a sofa set. They are not at all related to each other. Any change in price of one will not lead to any change in the demand of the other. This is all for cross elasticity of demand, and we are done with the chapter.